Hey gentlemen, let's get this thing going. We got a lot to do today, and I think we're going to have a good morning. Give yourselves a round of applause. You made it. Man alive. Hey, I will say this. At 6:15, we wonder, is anybody going to show up? And then at 6:20, look at all you guys in the room. That's crazy, isn't it? Oh, they just like talking. There you go. Where are we? Did you do that, Josh? Thank you. Hey, let me tell you just a couple quick things as we launch in. First of all, if you're new today and this is your first time here, welcome. We're glad that you're here. This is not an Amway meeting early in the morning. This is actually a group of guys trying to get after our lives a little more seriously. So we're really thankful that you're here and just join in. And whenever you want to bring a buddy, just bring them. There's no well, I haven't been there the first few weeks. What have I missed? Just come. We'll be together. It's going to be great. Also, when out on the table, there's two things out there I want to mention. One, there's a half a sheet of paper of what we're going to be doing in the spring, of our dates and our topic focus that we're going to get after. So if you have want to take one of those, you can start locking in your calendar. That would be great. The other thing is, one of the guys on Monday evening has put together a spring twilight golf league on Thursdays at 5 at Greystone. So if you want to get out there and lose some golf balls and have some fun with some guys, there's a sign-up sheet out there. Put your name, legibly preferably, and your phone number and a legible email address. And then somebody's going to be letting guys know about that. And if you want to join in, it's going to be really fun. And we'll have a great time for those of you guys that would like to do that. So I want to tell you about that. You guys got it? Yes. Golf. How many of you guys are golfers in the room? Does anybody golf? Let's put it this way. How many of you would, really you're a golfer? Like, what does that mean? You have clubs and you play, or you... how many of you guys are sub-90 golfers regularly? Oh, there are a few guys that are sub-90s. How many of you guys doing sub-90s cheat? There you go. All right. How many mulligans do you... Hey, this morning we're going to talk about a very light topic, but before we do, I want to ask this question, which is this. We've been talking about this whole thing of drift. This is week 4 or 5. What week is it? 5. Thank you, Josh. And I would... If anybody, I know this is maybe a getting you going question, but has anything been just surfacing, any reactions, reflections on anything that we've been talking about? Maybe just a general reflection. Has it been helpful? Just anything. And if not, I'm going to keep, Brian, thank you, real loud. That would be great.
I feel like this session is about literally taking your shield and taking a small step against the current every single day.
Wow.
And against everything in your life. And the small steps feel as hard every single day.
Yeah.
It's only looking in reflection on how far you've come or how far you've been, and you can actually see the distance traveled. But it's really easy to just lift up your shield and it sucks. In current, and that I've been bringing this up with so many different people that I'm talking to. This is a real easy subject to talk to people about just letting your life not matter, letting the daily moments not matter.
Yeah, Brian was, for you, he says it feels like in some ways it's like having a shield, just kind of moving against the things that press against us in life, and we all have that. It's not like it's going away, is it? And sometimes you don't know how far you've come until you look back, but it's something we all are dealing with all the time. Last week Will did a phenomenal job leading us as we talked about relational drift and just thinking about the power of our own, wherever you're at in your journey with God, keeping that in play and in front of us, a part of us. And, intentionality and all of that. It's just, we're constantly in this. And part of the hope is that this isn't a guilt thing. This is about growing. I'm learning more and more in my own journey with God that it's not about just getting it right or wrong. That's just so demotivating. It's really about healing and being transformed and learning and making progress. And so I'm really hoping that you're feeling challenged in that way. How about anybody else? Thank you, Brian. Just anything else that's maybe surfacing? If not, I just want to give, thank you, Patrick.
Like we talked about,
Yeah. It's a bummer when your kids feel like you're insignificant, isn't it? And you provide everything in their life, but they think, I don't need you. You're like, I'll talk to you when I need you, Dad. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. But I do appreciate that. I think that, and I will say this, I do think sometimes parents just throw their hands up and they give in to that. They just give in. And says, no, I get a say in this. In fact, I remember years ago saying to my kids, I said, look, let me just tell you this. If you ever pretend like you don't know me in public, I will make sure people know we're related. I will absolutely make sure people know we're related. And we used to laugh about that. Yeah, Gregory?
I'm just going to give you encouragement. They come back in their 20s when they need money.
Yeah, come back. They said they'll come back in their 20s when they need money. Yeah. Well, let's do this. I want to make, thank you guys. We're going to keep after this. So let me ask you, I want to throw a question up on the board. When you think of one thing in our lives that is a source of great joy and a source of great pleasure, but can also be the source of great heartache, and maybe the source of poor choices, and certainly the reality of relational tensions, what comes to mind? Can you think of something that kind of fits the bill in each of those? Great joy.
Just getting back to the golf league.
Back to the golf league. Yeah, that is true. There is a lot of similarities, Sean. Thank you. Great joy and pleasure, but also great heartache, poor choices, and even relational tension. Does anything come to mind? Yeah, John?
Any relationship.
Any relationship, for sure. And let's just take it a step further. What dynamic or quality or in a relationship can bring those things? So what is it about that? I'm pushing you a little bit to just kind of get you thinking. I'm going to give you the answer, by the way. So you're going to, I'm not going to respond. But I mean, is there anything that you just kind of think, golly days, if I were to think of one thing that really does bring joy and pleasure, but also can be the source of poor choices and has a lot of power and can cause heartache, like what is that?
Desires.
Yeah.
Intimacy.
Intimacy. Say more about that. What do you mean by that, Skip?
Any relationship where you're close.
Okay. And the source of that closeness, Chris, you said? Desire. Desire playing in that. Like if you have a sense of intimacy, it's because you probably want it. Or you don't want it. Indirectly, consciously or unconsciously. So today, I'm going to ask you, have you guys ever struggled with this word, desire? Say, no, I've got it totally under wraps. You think about desire and how it plays in, it's a source of phenomenal joy, is it not? Like things that you desire, and then because you desire them, you go after them, you can experience them. Or the sense of pleasure. And I'm not just talking sexually, I'm talking even, just the pleasure of a good meal, a good conversation, pleasure of a good workout. I also think of the fact when desire gets skewed, it definitely can be the source of great heartache. And definitely poor choices. So let me replay an illustration we've used many times. How many of us in this room knew something that was wrong to do, but we decided that we were going to do that thing that we knew was wrong and do it anyway? How many of us have done that? We all have, right? And have you ever asked your kid, if you had one, like, why did you do that? Because it makes no sense to you why they would do that, but they did that. I found out later some stuff my kids did after they were married. They go, Dad, you never knew that we did this, but let me tell you what we did. I went out on the roof, and then I went down. I went like, you did? Wow, I'm glad you didn't get hurt. And then if I were to say, well, why would we do that? And I've asked people this, and they go, wow. And they start getting really philosophical. I go, like, dude, is it really that complicated? They go, well, I guess I did it because I wanted to. Like, that's right. You wanted what you wanted more than you wanted to do what you knew was wrong. You were willing to take the bait and give it a rip. I've been there too. I want to show you a picture of Niagara Falls. And I want you to imagine a little bit just the force of this picture. I'm trying to get us into just feeling something. Just feel the power in this for a second if you can. How many of you guys ever been to Niagara Falls? Great. I think it's on the U.S. side. I remember going there years and years ago, and there's this fence you can be right up next to. And I was just standing there, and I looked to the right, and there was this little sign. I mean, the falls like that are right there. I mean, it's like, it is frightening, the power. You just get the rage, and you're getting missed, and there's this little sign that says this: beyond the point of no return. And I'm like, holy crap, like I'm like a fence, beyond the point of no return. Meaning this, you have a point of which this current is taking you. But at some point, up to here, you can go back this way if you want, at some point. But at some point, you can't go back. This thing's got you. It has you. And so, as we think about desire this morning, I just want us to understand, would you agree with me that it has profound power? Would you agree with that? Would you? Yes. So let me ask you, before we get into I want just a few preliminary thoughts before we spend some time around our tables and then come back and unpack this a little more. What is it then about power? About desire? Why is it so powerful? I think we're all sitting there going like, man, it is. It's really powerful. It's powerful. But why is it so dang powerful? I know it is, but why, you have any idea why it is? Go, no. Yeah. Jeremy, thank you, brother.
I think it's so powerful to help remind us that there's something greater beyond us. Someone who crafted that within us that we get to, ideally, we're pointing it back to Him.
So you're saying that desire is powerful because it's a reflection of someone who actually gave that desire to us? Is that fair to say? Is a reflection of something in that regard? Fantastic. We'll get to that in just a minute. That's really, really good. Well, what in terms of you think though, desire's power, like what does it give to us? What's behind it that that can make us imagine certain things that we can actually possess or have or want? And what are some more things that it stirs in you? Yeah, Sean, and then we'll go
It's like
to Lee.
a driving force.
It is.
You don't even have to put effort into it. Desire, it can put you on a mission without even much effort.
It is a driving force, isn't it? Like that's the point. But I'm saying, what is it that driving force sometimes kind of gives to us? We're going to unpack this. I'm pushing us for a reason. Because here's the deal. You guys have maybe seen this illustration before. We think of desire up here at a very surface level, and we talk about it. And we try to manage it above the waterline, and we go, oh, man, I shouldn't want that. I don't desire that. No, you do, though. You do want it. Man, I shouldn't want to look at that, but I do. How many people, if somebody has an affair, and I'm not judging anybody, I'm just saying that, do you think that somebody doesn't know at some point this is not right for me to be doing? Listen, I know that guys struggle with pornography. I know that. And I've talked to them. And they know it's wrong. They don't want to do it. They feel it's dehumanizing. I haven't met one guy that's into that in his Christmas newsletter informs all of his friends of his favorite porn sites that he's looking at. That sounds funny to even say that, isn't it? You know why? Because he doesn't want to be found out because he knows it's wrong. But he does it. Like, I'm doing what I don't want to do. What is going on? We literally, I'll be right there. We literally take kids who can't read and advance them in school. Why do we do that? They can't read. At some point we have to say, you know what? We're doing it because we want to. Well, there's more to it. How much more to it is there? You don't have to do it. Now, there might be secondary reasons, but at some point, we're doing what we want to do. Is that fair to say? Yeah. You think in the world scale, we don't have to be bombing and blowing each other up. We are, but we don't have to be. We're not obligated to. And at some point, this thing is exactly what you're saying, Sean. It's powerful, isn't it? And it's powerful for a reason. There's some good ones and there's some bad ones. And here's what I'm trying to get at this morning is, if we don't understand this and learn to harness this profound nuclear power that we've been given, it's not going to just cease to exist. It will take you some places. Yeah, Bob, and then Lee, you were going to say something too, I think.
I think
Real loud, Bob, so we can hear you.
the desire aspect, I mean, we all know we have them, and I think there's acknowledgement and there's action on those desires, and there's motion. I mean, I don't know what the guardrails are. You desire something, it can be good, like working out, physical fitness, or it can be bad, like looking at somebody other than your wife or your girlfriend or your significant other. What are the guardrails that we can put into place to avoid the action portion of the negative aspects of desire? And I know I've struggled with that years and years ago.
Yeah.
And, I'm one of those, I had a life lesson, and it's taken me years to kind of set those guardrails and set those boundaries and figure out, well, yeah, I mean, we are going to have desires, both good and bad.
Yes.
How do we, for the good of everybody, including mostly ourselves, and then as a result of everyone else around us, how do we recognize and categorize those desires as, okay, it happened, acknowledge it, what can I do to just put it down, mark it down, and saying, okay, look, move on, and let's not do that.
Thank you. And before we leave this morning, we're going to try to give a couple of those. Because it's no good to talk about all this stuff without giving us a little encouragement and coaching up on where do we do with these things. Because here's the thing, guys, I want to just encourage you in this. Desire is here to stay. And it's for a reason. It's really funny. Some of the Buddhism in some ways has said that one of the greatest banes of man is desire. So one of the things it tries to do is rid you of that desire, which is in of itself a desire. And to live not wanting to want is actually a want. It's circular. You can't get away from it for a reason. Lee, were you going to say something?
Desire can come in so many forms that you could see some of the speed bumps and some of the guardrails of desire. Others, your desire, that sin will take over.
Yeah.
And it's very easy not to recognize it.
It's easy not to recognize it sometimes, right?
It's extremely easy.
So then that requires a certain degree of self-awareness, right? Like even knowing, hey, look, I got something within me, and we're going to talk about its origin in a minute, and it's a beautiful origin. The problem is we've kind of given up something a little bit. But let me make an illustration. I mentioned this a long time ago that, this word wisdom, I've spoken about this before because it's so helped me as I've thought about this, is that, this thing called life is not a free-for-all. And wisdom is a word that the Hebrews gave to conforming to how things have been created to function best. When you conform to that. And it makes you skilled at living. Now, if that's already in the water, that there is a way, I don't have to come up with it, right? It is. I'm wise to think about it. So here's the deal. Like, I have this thing, and it is powerful. It's real. It can make you do crazy things. Like, I remember when I first started falling in love with my wife, I did crazy stuff to see her. I drove miles one time on no sleep overnight, and I'd look back and think about, what was I thinking? I wasn't. But I wanted to see her. But denied sensibilities. It goes on and on. You guys can play this in your own life, but there's certain things that we want that if we can get in touch with this, then we can learn to manage ourselves a little bit. I told you guys, some of you, this story years ago. I do a lot down at Helping Up, and it's really crazy. So one day I was having a chance to facilitate the class, and I want you just to imagine, again, this is not a judgment, it's a profound statement. These are some of the most courageous human beings I'm around in my life, are these men. because they have literally admitted to themselves and other people finally, if I don't do something, I'm gonna kill myself. I've ruined everything in my life in many ways, my family, my friendships, my kids. Here's me, and it ain't pretty, and here I am. So I asked these guys, what got you in here? They look at me like, dude, this is a year-long drug and alcohol rehab program. What the heck are you saying, what got us in here? I go, yeah, what got you in here? And they start saying drugs, alcohol, women, crazy decisions, and I just list them all on the board, just like this. I go, wow, that's interesting. What if I told you that didn't get you in here? And they look at me like, who brought this guy in? I go, seriously, I want to know, like, what got you in here? I asked you what got you in here, and you told me what you did. I didn't ask you what you did. I didn't say, what did you do that got you in here? I said, what got you in here? It was a trick question, obviously. I go, well, let me change the question. It was a little bit of a trick question. What did you want when you did these things? I mean, I know you did them. And that's focusing up here. That's just above the waterline. I said, how many of you guys have been in a 30-day program? How many have been in 3 of them? How many have been in 6 of them? I go, how'd it work? You're clean for 30 days. I go, how many of you in this room right now, some of these guys have been clean for 3 months? I go, is that the goal? Yeah. I go, well, then why don't you leave? You're good. You're good to go. They go, I'm not leaving. I go, yeah, but you know, you haven't figured this out yet, right? Yeah. So I said, so let me ask you this. I asked you what got you in here. You told me what you did. And I told you what got you in here isn't what you did. That's a manifestation of what got you in here. So, what did you want when you did all this crazy ass stuff? You know what they said? They said, I wanted love. I wanted peace of mind. I wanted a place to belong. I wanted respect. Think about this. And so I just list love, hope, respect, peace of mind, to belong. And I go, what if what got you in here was a good thing you were created for that got misaligned and you went to a crazy place to get a good thing? A created thing that you were actually made for. And one guy in the back of the room one week said this. He went, shit. He goes, that would have really helped. Had I known that years ago. And here's the deal. I want to tell you this. We are no different than those men. Pick your poison. We have people that are addicted to accumulation, to a reputation, to people's approval. You know why? Because this thing right here is created, I'm going to say it 100 times till you guys get it, for significance, security, and belonging. And you want that as much as you want anything in your life if you keep going down, down, down. My son, when I were talking a while ago, last year, he said, Dad, I was doing a little research and it's really interesting. I don't know where he was studying. He was studying for something with some kids in the city, but he said, it's interesting. They asked some men who were visiting prostitutes why they were doing it. And the answer is not what you would think. You might think, well, they wanted one of these crazy sexual experiences. And they go, nope. What they wanted was someone who for a few minutes would make them feel like they were desirable, that they were wanted. And many of them didn't even want the sex. They just wanted somebody to hold them. It made them feel like they were valuable enough and that they belonged. And they paid somebody to do it. Do you see how crazy stuff that we do is? Now here's the deal. Desire isn't, it just is. But think about this. In Genesis, we talked about this. God created us. Think about this. Because He wanted us. The purest reality about desire and its origin is it's beautiful. It's rich, it's atomic, it's mighty. And God created what He wanted and He imagined it. And He created it in a way that it would want what He wants. We'll talk about this more in the spring, but we are made in the image of God, which means a number of things. But one of the things that it means is that we're made with this yearning, this craving, this want for just the goodness of encounter. And that we're made to want who wants us the most. And whether we know it or not, I believe this personally, that we are desiring the Lord in so many of the other things that we look to without even knowing we're doing it. This is why for years, even in young life, having a chance to talk to hundreds and thousands of kids over the years, when they finally get like, wait a minute, you mean beyond the Facebook likes and the TikTok ding-dongs, whatever you're into, and the responses you're wanting to get and everything else, that what you're really looking for in some way is someone to say, I see you and you have value and you matter. What if that vote has already been cast by the one who created you and you're hardwired to know him already? And it's like a little homing device that's going beep, 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 beep. And when you get close, it gets louder and louder and louder. And when you connect with him, it's like, whoa. But the world's going to sell you a lot of other things that can tell you you can get that someplace else. And so you want to say, what I want, the lust of the eyes, right? The lust of the flesh, the desire to make one wise. See, the illusion of desire, one of the reasons I think is why it's so powerful, is because it gives us a false sense of control. Let's think about this. Our first big decision was, would we honor and trust God by taking dominion of our desire by not doing what He told us not to do? Think about this. Was there a time when Adam and Eve were safe, so to speak, even though they wanted it, they were still safe? Was there a moment, like if this is a tree, okay, so to speak, was there a moment, even though they saw it, they wanted it, whatever, were they still safe? Why were they? Because you're right, they were. Why were they still safe? They trusted, which gave them what? Gave them security, which gave them what? Which gave them, they were still exercising dominion. Right? But at one point, see the waterfall? At some point, what they wanted made them do what in response to God? Disobedient. And basically, what were they saying to God by their disobedience? Because there was a message being conveyed. What's that? I know better than you. Keep going. That's so true. I know better than you. I'm in control. I know more. What you gave us isn't enough. I'm ungrateful. You're holding out a little bit. You gave us all of this, and you, and yet a little more. How much of a little more has gotten so many people? It's that little conversation. Let's have another one. Let's have another one. Now it's not a conversation, it's kind of hanging out. Now it's like, before you know it, you're slowly moving to a place. And all I'm saying is, the first big decision was, would we honor and trust God by taking dominion of these things, this beautiful thing called desire? Or were we going to allow the gift of our desire to become the quicksand in our lives that creates a battle that we just can't. And so here's the deal. Karl Barth said it this way. He says, I was and I am the old man. I was and I am the old man. But then he says this, but I am and I will be the new man. Do you see the tension? I was and I am the old, but I am and I will be the new. Because the old man doesn't have a future if you learn to take dominion of that desire that wants to keep pushing back against God. I think one of the greatest challenges of our life is to believe that God knows best and I can trust Him with my desires. To orient them. Because here's what we're going to learn. Our desires aren't the issue. It's the direction of them. Our desires aren't the issue, it's its direction, because they are here to stay. Let me read you a quote by C.S. Lewis, and then we'll spend some time around our tables. Listen, some of you may have seen this before. Would somebody want to read that who can read real loudly? Somebody feel comfortable reading in a group?
Sure.
Thank you, John.
It would seem that our Lord finds our desires not too strong, but too weak. We are half-hearted creatures, fooling about with drink and sex and ambition when infinite joy is offered us. Like an ignorant child who wants to go on making mud pies in a slum because he cannot imagine what is meant by the offer of a holiday in the city, we are far too easily pleased.
Let's let that sit there for a minute. What do you guys hear C.S. Lewis saying? This is a powerful quote. Like, what do you hear him saying?
Can't see past our face. Can't see past what's right here.
We can't see right here, right?
Can't see past it.
Yeah, can't see past it. And I'm thinking, the garden, you think that Adam and Eve and all that they saw and all the beauty, that you wonder, had they gotten lulled into thinking that not only was there more, but that they had experienced everything that there was to experience about what they already saw already. That it couldn't get any better than it was. Man, they were just the edge of tasting what it was. And I think this is the illusion of desire sometimes when we feel like I'm going to let it take control, or I have control in a certain kind of a way. And what it does, I think, is makes us be people who are way too easily satisfied with things I can just grab and take, and then it numbs me to anything deeper. There's not one guy at Helping Up that ever had planned as a 10-year-old to end up there as a 28, 40, 50, 55-year-old man. Not one. And I know for me too, there's things that we've all done in our life. We're like, man, what would the younger version of you say to you now? Or what would you now say to that younger dude then to give him a little bit of insight? I guarantee you some of it would come around desire. And how you shape things and how you interact and why do you do what you do? And why do you want what you want? I just think that one of the things Lewis is saying is that God has created us for so much more. We don't need to be afraid of our desires. We need to embrace it for the beauty that it is and learn how to direct it. Learn how to direct it. And we're going to see in a little bit, this is where I think we can really learn from the Hebrews. Because they were people that weren't afraid to live a robust, earthy kind of life in a good way. So we'll talk more about this in a little bit. Any thoughts, questions, feedback before we tarry on? Anyone? More clarification or anything? Yes, Carlo?
It just, I come from a very worldly background studying all this stuff through like Tony Robbins and all that stuff, and it's nice to hear you say it in a much different context. And I've said this before that
real loud too, so brothers can hear you.
A lot of times when I go and I read the Bible, I'm like, wow, this is where Tony Robbins got all his stuff and all the things that I've been studying in the business world for a long time. So the desire really just, a lot of times this comes down to, as men, we need to feel important. And when we do things that we know we're gonna regret, in that moment, we just have that need to feel important. But we already had that significance when we turn our heart back over to the Lord, because if not, it'll never work.
So you're saying, we do things to feel important. Here's the deal. We're going to feel important either with things that really last or don't last. You can get a temporary feel good. You can get a temporary sense of significance. You can get a temporary sense of belonging. I mean, look, I knew guys in high school, so did you, just as one illustration, who started drinking, not because they want to have a drinking problem, because they wanted a friend. And if you were willing to do that, you could. And then their reputation became how much they could drink. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Man, you see Joey, man, that dude, he can bang a six-pack in no time. That guy's amazing. It's like, and then in college, it's like, what? You know what I mean? You start thinking like, that's you? Like, really? And everybody's laughing, and it's funny till you're all alone. Or you get with guys that are like 40, and they talk, and now they're still back in college when they see each other again, and they're talking the same way. They're acting the same way. They're talking about their reputations in the same way. And it's like, hey, dude, like, what's going on? What are we really going after here? It's like, well, I did this. Roar. I did this. Roar, roar. Well, I'm doing this. Roar, roar, roar. And it's like, really? Like, what do we really want here? And what we want is to be able to be real, to be honest, to be myself, to be true, and still know I'm loved. That's the Lord. This is why I'm saying our deepest desires are calling us home if we can go deeper, deeper, deeper. Enjoy some time around your tables. We'll come back. We'll keep after this, all right? This is kind of light, fun stuff for a Thursday morning. Let's do it. Get after it, fellas. Wherever you might want to go, that's great. Here we go. Hop, hop, hop. Hey, this is all the more reason for you guys to get breakfast as a table and talk more about this. This does not need to be the last discussion on this, and probably shouldn't be and won't be. We are not going to solve desire today. But I'm hoping that maybe we can be more aware and not be afraid of it. And I'll explain some of my hieroglyphics on the board here in just a little bit. But let's just I'd love to just hear, before I show you a couple things, just what maybe was surfacing around the tables, a couple of you guys. Were there any themes or stuff that, and as you share real loudly so we can hear you. Sean, thank you.
We talk about like things that where you're trying to fix the desires or redirect it, and until you actually turn it over to God, then sometimes those misdirected desires actually go away. He is God in His power takes the misdirected desires away.
Okay, you said so.
Try as much as you want.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, this is so good. I hope I can make some sense. You're saying like a lot of times you have a desire, right? And you're trying to do the right thing with it. And you're not able to kind of get it done on your own. Is that fair to say? So, and then finally at some point you go, hey God, I need some help down here. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing, right? So let me think about this. What's the different? So sometimes is that coming from the perspective that desire is a bad thing or a good thing?
No, just misdirected.
Just misdirected. Yeah, that's really good. So this is really important. So what seems to be creating the problem maybe around the table about what made it misdirected? Why were we having trouble directing it?
Relying on ourselves, not God.
Can you give me a practical example of that maybe?
No.
Okay. Goody, I just know when it's happening, all right? Like the house is blowing up over here. No, I think we all get it. Okay, we got a lot of hands going up here. Brian, real loud, and then try to keep your comments as brief as you can so we can get as many guys sharing.
I just think there is some good in the bad.
Yeah, there is some good in the bad.
Yeah, if it was drinking was all bad,
Yeah.
no one would do it, right? If there wasn't any benefit from having a beer,
Yeah.
none of us would.
Well, think about this. Maybe let's flip it around, Brian. Maybe there's some bad in the good. Meaning it's Jesus, again, this isn't here's what I can tell you, just aside, like a lot of the guys that helping up, as an illustration, when they were seeking things on the significance, security, belonging that then drove behavior up here, they ended up having a problem with drinking. Like, here's the deal. At some point, it does wreck your brain. You do things to yourself chemically where you can't control it anymore. And what originally got you there is you're not even thinking about that anymore. Now you've got a problem chemically that you've got to deal with. And you may never be able to go back there again. Probably you won't be able to. And everybody deals with this differently. I'm not a scientist or a chemist. All I can tell you is you're starting to groove things in your brain that, what got you to the starting line originally, you've done stuff to yourself in a brain. You just can't go back and play with that again. That's not going to be a zone where you can mess around with again. But Jesus also goes to a wedding and made a whole lot of best wine. And the guys go, well, that means we can all drink. You don't know the Hebrew culture. That's not what this is about. This is not a treatise on drinking. What it is saying is there is a joy and celebration, and we can actually learn to do it the right way. Because the Hebrew mind, let me just put this up, the Hebrew root, that definition, we can go past that one, that is just this. It deals with desire as a craving, longing, appetite, but it can be positive or negative. It's this human impulse but it came within the context of being a whole person. And its goodness or badness depended on its object or its pursuit of something. Like, you guys, let's just be honest. There is nothing ugly about a naked woman's body. I will tell you I could tell you a funny story right now, but because we're filming this, I probably shouldn't. I mean, a funny story about that. In France, need I say any more? But what I'm trying to say to this is that what we do is take beauty and objectify it. We don't know what to do with this desire anymore. Like in many ways, I think at creation, had we not profaned desire, seeing a body and us doing the wrong thing with it in our heads, or maybe not knowing how to contain and direct things the right way, we would have never had that. It would have never been an issue. And now we literally have a multi-billion-dollar industry off our bodies. And here's the deal. We legitimize it in the name of free speech. Because we want money. Money drives it. And see, money gives you power. And we want power. So let me ask you, what do you really want when you want money and power? See, that's up here. Nobody's going down here. Nobody's asking, what type of person does it mean to be when you're really a human being? What does it mean to be one of those? We don't ask that. Or even what kind of human being do I want to be? Like, is this what it means? I don't think it's what it means. And so what the Hebrews would do, theirs was about, and I'll get right there, their focus was just what you're saying, Sean, was about direction. It was about aiming desire. And here's the deal. This is why we need the Lord. Psalm 37 says this, commit your ways to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Not meaning He gives me whatever I want, meaning He literally will surface desires and give those to you in a good way. But you got to do the first thing first. If we're going to try to manage, this thing's Niagara Falls, guys, I'm telling you, it's part of your imageness. We're meant to want, but we're meant to want things in relation to God and to see it. Like, here's the deal. If you're serious about following Jesus, it's not learning, try to act like, man, I'm following Jesus. I got to learn how to fit Jesus into my life. I got to learn to, no. I got to learn to make Jesus help me think about sex the right way. Oh, Jesus, I got to help you. You got to, no. It starts with Jesus. What really means to follow Jesus is to say, Lord, life is yours. Will you teach me how to see life the way you created it to be? That's a totally different perspective. Jesus isn't just one pie of your pizza slice and you get to Him when you need to. He's the place that everything emanates through. Nobody knows more about sexual desire than Jesus Christ. Really? Good, He wasn't. No, I'm telling you. He's God in the flesh. God created all things. He gets it. Nobody knows more about resource than Jesus Christ. Nobody knows more about relationships than Jesus Christ. Nobody knows more about healing and brokenness than Jesus Christ. Nobody cares more about people flourishing than Jesus Christ. And yet we disconnect Him because we feel like, well, Jesus can't go there. So when you read the scriptures, the places He showed up were just amazing. Because where He went into was places where people's desires got so messed up, they went surface level places that was creating all kinds of craziness up here in their life, and they never got to hear. And He was seeing broken souls being eaten alive by the very thing that was meant to bless them. Does this make sense? Stephan, were you going to say something? Somebody had a hand up back there.
Yeah. There's a book called, by Viktor Frankl called Man's Search for Meaning.
Yeah.
And he talks about how that the SS guards could show kindness.
Yes.
And that the prisoners also could have the heart of the brutal SS guard. And he said it was really came down to choice. And so are you the glory of God or are you the depravity of man? And the answer is both.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is that decision to make with what you're talking about?
Yeah. Are you asking a question or you're making a statement?
General statement.
Yeah. So what he's saying in Viktor Frankl's book, if you haven't read it, Man's Search for Meaning, it's a phenomenal book. And he's saying that, even in the guards could show kindness and goodness. And even the German, people that were in prison could show harshness and meanness or whatever. But the point of it is, it lives in here because, see, in a Hebrew mind, the heart is the place of convergence where your thoughts and your will and, get this, your desires and emotions emerge from. This is wisdom and reality. If you know this, then you can begin to say, well, then this is why I need to watch over my heart with all diligence, because it is the place that everything orients to. So when I begin to want something and even want it maybe in the profane or wrong way, the question I can say is, God, what is my heart desiring right now really? And is it worthy of my affection? This has helped me. This question came to me years ago. If it's true that I live out of my heart, I don't get a vote on that. That's the way God's created us. And my heart is the origin of all my behavior. This thing goes public. My decisions, whether I know it or not, at a surface level, I think, well, I just want to feel good real quick. It's probably because you're lonely or sad or something, and you're trying to meet something down here. It's interesting, in that same book, a rabbi read it and he said this. He realized what Frankl was saying is this: the last of all great human freedoms, the last of all great human freedoms is to decide your attitude in any given situation. It's called dominion. We've given this up. And see, the Greek mind thought about desire differently. For them, it had to do with cravings, longings, yearnings. But for them, they saw desire as something that was dangerous and needed to be controlled, not embraced and aimed. For them, see, they had a very dualistic view of man. They had the visible and the invisible. And the invisible was priority. The visible was our bodies, and that's where desire lived, and that was going to get you in trouble. So it led to a lot of times harsh treatment of the body, or you just said, screw it, do whatever you want. But they made a distinction between the visible and the invisible, and that you had to really control this. And so it's almost like you're living in fear. Like, oh my gosh, I just had a sexual thought. Oh my gosh, am I in trouble? Oh my gosh, look, you guys, things come at us as human beings because we're still broken. We're not all that we were. See, this is why I was and I am the old man, but I am and I will be the new man. I'm new, but there's tension. And I'm moving in a direction. So the question is, how do I manage me with the Lord as I move through this life? I don't want to be afraid of the greatest gift we've been given is to desire things and to want things. I want to learn with the Lord and brothers how to embrace it and do it the right way. More and more. And some things, maybe you say, hey, I'm not there yet. I don't have the maturity yet. That one's off the board for me for a while. I don't think I can go there and enjoy that the right way. This is why Augustine, listen to this quote. This is so good. We do well, this is great, to love that which when we love it, it makes us live well and virtuously. Think about that for a minute. Like you go, well, if I go there, that's not going to help me live well or virtuously. So I don't need to be afraid of it. I just don't need to go there. Dave?
So much of the path we choose, the direction of desires aim has to do with time.
Say that real loud, Dave. Time.
More often than not, the misdirected fulfillment of desire is a quick fix.
Quick fix. Yeah.
And we think, and the irony is, we don't think in light of eternity. What's a day or a year or a few years or a lifetime in perspective of eternity? But the irony is, well, because we choose the temporary and we move towards sin, we now only have a lifetime. But yeah, I even think about Adam and Eve, like, the fruit was right in front of them and they saw it was good to eat. Well, there was also a bunch of other fruit around that they could have eaten. Oh, but they would have had to wait a minute to go pick that fruit.
Yeah.
Good and evil. You can't tell me that if they had been in the garden for another 6 millennia, they wouldn't have learned some discernment between what's good and what's bad. They wouldn't have had a little marriage tension here and there and had to figure things out. But instead it was, well, let me get the immediate fix.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of a desire I've turned to in a poor way where it was, oh, I went for the long-term solution and it was a bad thing. It's like, no, it's because I wanted it quick.
Yeah, usually. In fact, Dallas Willard says, it's interesting. He said, when you're lonely, the easiest place to go to feel alive is your body. Isn't that interesting? There's a lot of truth to that. I'll buy that and I'll fix that, I'll get that, I'll do that and that, and it's like, well, he kind of did it for a minute, but not really. So think about this. There's no temptation, 1 Corinthians 10:13, but that which is common to man. Temptation is in the realm of what? Desire. It's common to man, but God is faithful, it says, and He will not allow you to be tempted beyond that which you have the ability to bear. He'll provide a way of escape that you might bear up under it. In essence, a lot of times, when you think of temptation, it's a fishing word. It means to lure. To lure. It's like you throw something out that looks like the real thing, and I love to fish. A lot of times it might be real bait, but the problem is it's real bait not without a hook, but with a hook. And so I use real bait to get a bite. When I get a bite, that's all I want. I just want a bite. I want a chance. And I think, what do you think the essence of temptation is? What's the lure? Pick your poison. Think, well, what's a sexual? When it's a sexual temptation, what's the lure? Financially, what's the lure? Reputation, what's the lure? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what's it? And usually, I'm telling you, if you can go down, it's deeper. Go deeper. So when you think of 1 John 2, 15 to 17, I'm pumping here because I want to give a few things that maybe will encourage. It says this, do not love the world, John says, 1 John 2, 15 to 17. Do not love the world or the things of the world. The world means that which is not the world, cosmic world, but that which is as opposed to God. He goes, for that all that is in the world, he says, the lust of the flesh. Now, he's not saying the flesh is bad. Flesh in Greek can mean your body. The Greek word that we often think of it is sarx, which means the bent desires of the flesh. But everything my flesh wants, like I can be hungry, that's not a bad desire, but I can also be a glutton. Have you guys seen people dance and it's like worshipful? You seen that ever? I have. You've seen dancing too and it's like, hide the kids, man. I don't know what's going on there, but something crazy is happening right there. It's sex with clothes on. I don't know what it is, but it's crazy what's going on. It's dancing. It's the same thing. It's just one is beautiful, one's profane. You've seen business. Business can bless. Business is Bernie Madoff. It's what do you want to do? And so, but the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life are not from the Father, but are from the world. And the world and its lusts are passing away. So let me ask you, what is the lure in the eyes, in the flesh, in the pride of life? Like, what is it about them that makes it so desirable sometimes? What is the promise that the flesh or the eyes or the pride of life is offering to us? Yeah, Ben?
It's one of the things below the waterline.
Say a little bit more about that real loud.
Really, you asked a follow-up question. I was not ready for that.
I think it's trying to get us to think that there is a sense of belonging with some of that. Or
Yeah.
there is a sense of security with that. When there isn't, but I think that what you're getting at is that lore is designed to look like those things.
Yep.
To try to get us to think that we're getting down below the waterline with whatever we're doing, when in fact we're not. We're staying above the waterline.
Yeah, it's kind of and you can have it right now. That's the thing about these things right now. The crazy thing is you can get it right now, and you can get it someplace and nobody will see you get it. That's what's crazy. And then it hooks your brain. It does crazy things. You can get hits on all kinds of stuff. All I'm saying is that, we think what we want is pleasure, a sense of people thinking well of me and all that. None of that's wrong at a level, but we can go after it the wrong way. But I'm saying keep going deeper when these things, and if you keep going deeper, I think in essence what we're going to realize is the thing that I thought I wanted is really not the thing that I really want. What I really want. Because this is the first question Jesus asks in the Gospels is this: what do you want? What do you want? And it takes time to figure that out sometimes. Because here's what I've said often, a saying I've heard: you not only have to want what you want, or desire what you desire. You also have to want what your wants lead to. And people don't think about that. I just want this. Well, okay, if that's what you want, but you better know this. If that want gets found out that you just did, you better also want this, because that's going to be a firestorm. Well, I don't want that. Well, then you better think about what you want upstream. And what is it then that you really want? Do you really want that? I want it now. I didn't ask that. I said, what do you want, really? I want relief. I want security. I want to be wanted. Look, I'm telling you, that is found in a place nobody that can rob, which is the Lord, for all of us. Like, God cares way more about Brian's life than Brian does. God cares way more, Randy, about your life than you do. Bob, Goody, Pete, he cares more about your kids than you do. This thing is his idea. He made us to want him. It's a force. And so wouldn't it be great to be a group of men who could learn to walk through life and could see a desire that's evil or sinful for what it is, and not walk through life like afraid, but say, wait a minute, I'm aware. I'm not stupid. I know there's a point beyond of no return, and I ain't going to go play with it. I'm going to win early, but I want to be a man that aims my desire. So let me give you a couple quick things that have kind of helped me. This is not an exhaustive list. You can take a picture of it, you do whatever you want with this, but this has been helpful to me, and then a few applications. One for me when it comes to directing my desires, because here's what I know. It's been a source of great joy or agony. I told you guys, like for years ago, I had a real problem in college with exercise to the point I was doing some crazy things because of my desire to, quote, be in shape. It was not that. It was way more about, I got some feel good. It made me feel very significant. And I was on the verge of doing some crazy stuff. I've still had to manage that for 40 years. I've had to watch it. So I'm just telling you. Here's another one. One for me is just recognizing real quickly the power of gratitude in my life, which I try to practice, the sense of contentment, the illusion, and one of the things that's helped me be content is trying to be as generous as I know how to be in the moment, with not just money, but with our time, our home, whatever as best we can. And that's a tension sometimes. But I'm just telling you, realizing the gift of desire and the power of gratitude, contentment, and generosity to help me direct my desires brings a lot of perspective for me. 4 questions that have been helpful for me over time. One is what I mentioned before, what is my heart desiring right now? And is it worthy of my affection? Man, when you're in it right then, taking a moment to say, wait a minute, what? Go deeper. If it's true, I've got to watch over my heart because it's the wellspring. Then what is this thing really wanting? Guys, that takes some work. The purposes of a man's heart, Proverbs 25, are deep waters. You don't even understand yourself all that well at times. But a man of understanding draws them out. Man, you might have to go to school on yourself a little bit. What do I want? Why do I want what I want? And what am I hoping it'll give me? That's another big question. What is my mind treating as the truth, and is it? I think, man, we live in this life that, man, if I get this, it's going to give me this, it's going to be awesome. It's like, dude, you are living in la-la land on that one. Sometimes you need to look at people and go like, dude, really? Like, who are you talking to? Like, be honest with yourself. And then finally, what message is my life and do I want my life to proclaim? Because your actions speak. Here's another one. Find a person and a place to talk about things. Hopefully, maybe here, if you're getting used to that, and maybe it'll go to deeper things. I just think someone who will dare to disagree with you too. If you don't have a person in your life that'll say, Goody, what? You're full of crap right now. You just aren't thinking right, dude. You're off course. You're allowing yourself, and you know it, don't you, dude? And finally, every now and then, just say no to something that you enjoy. Just a no. It's really interesting. Just say, no, I'm not going to do that today. I'm off. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to drink that today. I'm not doing it. Today, I'm not having that today. I'm not going to do that. Why? I'm free to do it. I'm just not going to do it. Why not? Because I want to make sure I know who's in control and that I'm directing this. And if I can't live without that, it probably has more of a hook in me than it needs to. So it's almost like an intentional fasting. Hey, it's Lent. You know that? I'll tell you what I'm giving up. I love reading the news. I don't know what it is, but 6 times a day I'll read headlines. And if I like one, and I catch myself going, "Goods, what are you doing?" It might even be just 15 minutes. It might be 10. It might be 3. I go, I'm out. I get 1 time a day, 1 a day, to do that. You go, goody, that's not much. It's more than you think for me, because I'm trying to think, what is it about that I want to know that so much? Now, part of it is I want to be well aware and be able to have kind of conversations with people. But in some ways, it's this weird thing. It makes me feel significant in a crazy way that I know what's going on, but it's taking a lot of my time. I don't need to be given that much to my flipping phone. I'm telling you guys, I deal with this stuff as much as anybody. This is why we do this stuff. So welcome to my insanity. And I hope this is challenging. It's a good thing. So what are you guys hearing this morning? I mean, like, what's kind of stirring in your hearts as we close? Yeah, Jeremy?
So I'm reminded of Christopher West's analogy of the rocket. Like, our desire is a rocket ship, and if we are letting it have its power on the level that we're on, it's just going to be shooting horizontal targets. But if we can orient it to where it's supposed to go,
Yeah,
it launches us in a different direction.
different direction. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Like, what are you feeling, thinking, leaving with, challenged by, questioning?
Temptation is of the devil and testing is of the Lord.
Yeah, the temptation, the lure is to pull you someplace that could be deadly, right? Yeah. And a lot of times there's a test in the temptation. That's the crazy thing. Yeah, thanks, John.
If you're looking at headlines, are you afraid that you're going to miss something? Is that part of it?
I don't know. It's a good question. That's a good thing for me to think about. I don't know. But thank you for the question, though. I appreciate that.
We didn't need to sleep
Yeah,
at all.
yeah,
Because and Monty will tell you as kids that I suffer from this. I don't want to go to bed because I'm really afraid I'm going to miss something.
yeah,
And I do the same thing. I look at headlines. I
yeah,
just look at headlines.
Yeah.
It's interesting stuff.
yeah,
I mean, the stuff that's going on in the world, you couldn't even write a script for it. It's so
Yeah.
outrageous.
yeah.
But I really am afraid of this.
Well, no, I can understand that, but I start thinking about, it's really interesting. We're also hearing, whatever news thing you're on, you can read them all. It's just, we're all subject to sometimes what people want us to hear, and I start thinking, like, God, I'm not going to change the world I'm hearing about. I mean, like, I'm not stopping Ukraine and what's going on in Russia. I mean, it helps me pray. I don't even need to read the news to pray. I also know this: you rarely hear good stuff. And here's what I know. There's a lot of great stuff going on. And this is great stuff. This is newsworthy. It really is. We don't hear about any of this. I mean, I know guys that are mentoring kids in the city. It's good stuff. Nobody hears about it. There are success stories. You don't know this, but a kid that my son is mentoring just won the States this year in a track meet. Nobody was there but Josh. Kid won the States, and nobody watched him except Josh. Josh bought him a hoodie. He goes, "Oh, man, you won a hoodie today, man." That kid, he filmed the race. I got to see the race. I texted him because I could, just because of Josh. I wouldn't have been me. But here's that's a good story, right? So many good things. And see, then it gets into control. And then I start getting pissed off at the world. And then I start thinking my well-being. Like, I'm not doing that. You're not getting me. Even when you want to kill, steal, and destroy, the Lord came to give life and give it abundantly. I'm going to pray for the world. I'm going to bring good into places where I have a chance to be. And I'm not going to let somebody else rob my deep sense of well-being that God still is running the world. And guess what? The world is still going where He wants it to go, you guys. And that doesn't mean we don't care, we don't battle, but I'm telling you that the end result is not up for grabs. And I pray to God you take some hope in that. Because this is not an equal fight between evil and good. And we act like it is. The evil one is a created being. He's not Jesus' equal opposite. And He lives in you. This is the hope of the ages. Christ in you, the hope of glory. And He wants to help us navigate this and embrace it and enjoy it and celebrate well and love hard and care. So, to God be the glory. We're going to keep encouraging each other. We're not done this. And we're going to get after it. Amen? Amen. Amen. Joe, what do we do? Tables? Tables up. Let's do our verse. I'll take the name tags. You guys are awesome for joining in and getting after it. Let's do it. Let's say the address too. You ready? Proverbs 3, 7 and 8. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord. Shun evil. For this will add health to your body and nourishment to your bones. Amen.